All right, everybody say hey to the professor. Hey. Hey. She likes to hear you. Everybody say that. All right. Have you ever heard of anyone that has hemophilia or that lives with hemophilia? All right. If you haven't and do not know what it is, it's a very rare genetic disorder that is estimated to affect 17,000 people in the United States, which is accounting for 0.006% of the U.S. population. All right. Hopefully, at the conclusion of this speech, you'll have a better understanding of what hemophilia is, what are the different types of hemophilia, and how to treat hemophilia. All right. Being that my son has hemophilia, I hope everyone gets a better understanding of when I say my son has a bleed, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. All right. Now, going into what is hemophilia. All right. By definition, hemophilia is a genetic disorder that prevents the blood from bleeding. All right. Give you some myths out there about hemophilia. All right. That some people think that it's a royal disease, being that when it was first diagnosed, it fell into the royal family in like Europe and places of that nature. All right. So at the very beginning, people would call it a royal disease because it ran in the family. All right. Some other myths are that blood rushes out of a cut. All right. Say that you see somebody has a cut, they think that blood rushes out. It has nothing to do with how fast or how slow the blood bleeds. It just means that the blood is going to bleed at the normal pace. It just doesn't form a clot to stop bleeding, okay? All right, and another myth out there is that children that have hemophilia cannot play sports, and that's not true. All right, they're just as active. The only thing is you just have to be more aware that they have hemophilia to if they do get a cut, things of that nature, you got to take care of it right then and there, okay? All right. Hemophilia is usually a disorder that is found in males, all right? Usually males only, all right? But in extreme cases, it can be found in females, all right? Hemophilia is transmitted, all right, usually by the female because the female is a carrier, all right? Females have XX chromosomes. That's what decides the sex of a human being. Female has XX. The X chromosome is what decides if you have hemophilia. All right, so if a female has one bad chromosome, X chromosome, they have another X chromosome that can balance it out. That's why males are usually the only ones that have hemophilia, right? Because male have XY. They don't have another X chromosome to balance it out. All right. In rare cases, though, and I do know of a little girl right now, she does have hemophilia because both of her chromosomes, both of the X chromosomes, have the genetic disorder. So she has hemophilia. But usually, females are just the carriers. All right? All right. Understanding what hemophilia is will help you understand what the different types of hemophilia are out there, okay? All right. There are actually many different types of hemophilia. All right. To understand, you first know that for blood to clot, it takes about 14 proteins. All right. That kind of 14 proteins. All right. 14 proteins called factors. All right. And if you think of it as like a domino effect. All right, and there's 14 dominoes in there. Okay, they're numbered by Roman numerals 1 through 14. All right, and that's how the factors are numbered. The most common is called factor 8 deficiency. All right, which is known as hemophilia A. All right, and factor 9 deficiency, which is known as hemophilia B. Those are usually your two most common, A and B. All right, A usually takes up A usually affects 80%. And B usually affects 20% in there, okay, of the population, all right? Now, once you know what type of factor it is, you'll have to know the factor, the severity of it, all right? You have severe hemophilia, which means that less than 1% of the factor is active. Moderate hemophilia, which means that 1% to 5% of that factor is active. And mild hemophilia, which is 5 to 50% of that factor is active, okay? All right, there are a couple different types of hemophilia that we will not go over today because of time, but if you want to research it, you can actually find there's a few more hemophilia factors, different types of hemophilia, like von Willebrand, which is another type of hemophilia out there, okay? All right, but if you research it, you can definitely find different types. All right, now, going into how you treat hemophilia. First off, you treat it just like you would any other normal cut. There's nothing special that you need. The first thing you need to make sure is you try to get the bleeding to stop. All right, so if you come across of it, just apply a bandage, pressure dressing, whatever the pressure, try to get it stop bleeding. All right, now there are two different ways that people treat people with hemophilia. All right, you can treat it when a bleed actually occurs, like when somebody gets a cut, or you get a big bruise or things of that nature, or you can treat it with what's called prophylaxis. All right, it's a synthetic factor that you apply to the child or to a man, whatever the case may be, 2 to 3 times a week. And what that does, it tries to keep that factor level up to that normal percentage, so they can pretty well live a pretty normal life. Okay. Now the different types of bleeds out there, you have your normal cut bleeds, which aren't too bad. As long as you can see the bleed, it's nothing to take care of it. You know where it's at. Joint bleeds, all right? You actually bleed in your joints when you move around, all right? That's what happens when you get a big bruise on one of your joints. That's blood. That dark color underneath your skin is blood, all right? Those are real bad because you can't see them unless they swell up, all right? And then you got head bleeds. Those are the worst bleeds because you definitely don't know. You can't see a head bleed, all right? So you have to be able to ask that child or man or whatever the case may be if their head is hurting or something of that nature, because you really need to take a head injury serious, okay? Now, when you do the prophylactic, it's a synthetic factor. It comes in a little vial like this big, all right? What you're going to do is you're going to access a vein, or you can access a port, which my son has a port. It's underneath the skin. It's direct access to the vein. It's just like doing an IV. If you think of an IV, that's kind of what I'm doing right now. First thing you do is you get the access to the vein. Next thing you do is you'll put saline. Next thing you'll do is put the factor. Then you'll do saline and then heparin. And if you don't know what heparin is, it's a blood thinning type of medicine, and that helps clean the port out. All right, and it helps clean the vein out too. Okay. Now, now that we know what hemophilia is and different types of hemophilia and how hemophilia can be treated, I hope that you have a better understanding of what a person has to go through that actually has hemophilia. All right. Today we talked about what hemophilia is, the different types of hemophilia, how to treat hemophilia. All right. The reason I wanted to discuss this is because my son has hemophilia A, all right, which is factor VIII deficiency, if you don't know, and he is a severe hemophilia A. This doesn't stop him from living a very active life. So if you happen to come across a kid that has hemophilia, I hope that you understand this condition. Just remember, if you play with him, he's not going to break. He's just like any other kid, okay? Thank you for your time and have a good day.